got break my hand in two totally. So in October I was playing basketball and I fell. I was trying to dunk just to show off, but I didn't warm up properly and I was running too fast, so I fell and the entire weight of my body fell on this hand. And I was met with the comical side. This palm of my hand literally came out of this place where it's supposed to be and it went above the forearm. But the skin is all intact. So imagine your hand comes like this, then goes up like comes down. It was, and I was taken to the hospital. What proceeded was the most painful and traumatic experiences of my life, but simultaneously somehow the most beautiful as well. So it taught me a lot of lessons that I'll carry with me to the end of my life, hopefully, and I'll share with you some of those. So number one, I realized that relationships are the most important thing in life. So at the hospital, I saw a lot of old people suffering at the end of their life, and it really triggered me. And what really triggered me was I was at the hospital right now, and I had a lot of people comforting me. My mother was with me all the time, and I realized that at the end of my life, I won't be there, and one day it will be my mother in that bed. And it really, that feeling of mortality really buried itself deep inside me, and I had to deal with that for the next 3 or 4 months all the time. And I was thinking, what is the point of all this if it's all going to end anyway? Everyone we love and everything we love is going to come to an end. And I got my answer in a children's book, Percy Jackson and the Chalice of Gods. So in that book, the Chalice of Gods can make anyone immortal, and it is lost. So Percy is on a quest to find that and bring it back to the gods. So who stole it was the god of old age, and Percy has to take it back from him. And obviously he can't fight with the god. He tries, but he's getting destroyed. And then Percy decides to hug him and accept old age for what it is. So, and brings the chalice back to the gods. He also observes that the gods are all arrogant and kind of really dead because they've seen it all, and there's nothing that really excites them anymore. And they're forever in their teenage life with all their insecurities and arrogance and everything. And he realized that he would rather grow old with the people he loved, and rather than being immortal. He had a vision of growing old with Grover and Annabeth. And he realized that that was much better than staying immortal for his entire life with all his flaws. Yep. And I think that's true. I think if we were immortal, then life would lose a lot of its meaning. This temporariness of life is what makes it valuable. If there were infinite candies everywhere, then the price of candies would go down to zero, right? Similarly, if we had all the time in the world, then we wouldn't value any time at all. And it is the temporariness and death itself that gives life its meaning. And growing old with people you love is a privilege, and it is much better than staying immortal for your entire life alone without growing up. Yep. The second lesson it taught me was that self-love comes from working hard. So as I told you, the day after which I was trying a lot and the surgery, the next morning after I woke up from the surgery, the first thing I did was attend classes for my JEE entrance coaching. And it didn't really hit me at that time, but a few months later I was again suffering from a bout of self-contempt. And my mother showed me that clip. I don't know why I was hating myself really. And I saw that clip, and I don't want to sound narcissistic, but instantly that self-contempt dissolved at that time. But I suffer from self-esteem issues or something, I guess. Yeah, at that time I just saw the clip of me uh, at 6 a.m. or 5:30 a.m. I forgot the exact time. Waking up and studying and attending classes after the most traumatic life experiences of my life, and I understood that despite all my flaws and all my shortcomings, I have the capacity to be virtuous and to do admirable stuff, and I believe that's the case with everyone. All of us fall short in comparison to the ideal, but all of us has the capability and the capacity to do great stuff, and we can't we will make mistakes inevitably, and as long as we are having the good in mind and aiming high and keeping ourselves humble and working towards a meaningful goal, then you don't need to hate yourself, really. If you're sacrificing the present for the future, then you don't deserve to hate yourself. And that clip really helped me build a better self-image and develop a sense of self-respect that I am someone capable of doing hard stuff and not a worthless piece of shit. Maybe I suffer from self-esteem issues or something, but yeah, I needed that clip to remind me that I am not worthless. Okay, the third lesson I learned, or it just hit me, I already knew, but it really hit me and manifested itself within me once I broke my hand. So at the moment when I broke my hand, I wasn't sad or angry at all. I was incredibly calm, and I was really actually joking with one of my best friends all the way to the hospital. It was in the hospital that the pain came, because at that time the adrenaline was rushing to my body because of playing basketball, so I didn't really feel much pain. But I was thinking, how will this affect my future? Will I be able to achieve the same sort of things? It looks fine now, but at that time it was literally out of its socket. I thought it had to be cut off and I had to live with one hand for the rest of my life. So yeah, I was concerned momentarily about my future, but then Marcus Aurelius' quote hit me. It goes something like, if you can still be good, then you have not been harmed. So a lot of the time, it was a mistake I made in the past as well, that I measure a person's worth for how what they achieve, and I think that's the wrong scale of measurement. I think it is better, or the correct way to measure a person's worth is by how good they are and how virtuous they are and how they treat others. And I realized that even if I don't have one hand, and even if I may not be able to achieve the same things that I would have been capable of with two hands, if I can still be a good person and takes virtuous actions, then my worth as a human being has not gone down. And this is a really powerful idea, because your capability and capacity to be good does not erode with old age. I mean, when you are aging, your physical capacities will go down, as so will your mental faculties. But this capability to empathize with others and to be humble and to put others first is a skill that doesn't erode with age. Also, it can't be taken away from you. You can break your hand, you can break your head. It can't, I mean, maybe a head fracture, some head injury could do it, but breaking your hand or leg won't make you less virtuous or reduce your capacity to be good. And that means that your worth is entirely dependent upon the actions you take, or really the intentions with which you take those actions. And I think that's the correct way to measure a birth of a person. Yeah, yeah. Those are the 3 lessons that I learned from breaking my hand. And I see you at the top. Bye.